Underfloor heating essentially is the heat emitter in the floor. So in terms of replacing, whereas normally you would have radiators which are heating at very high temperature, underfloor heating is a low temperature option, covers the whole of the sort of floor area, so it means that the temperature itself is lower, much more kind of comfortable heat, and in fact most people would run an underfloor heating system probably 2 or 3 degrees lower than they would do a conventional radiator system.
Every house has got the potential to have underfloor heating, whether it's wet or electric. Some as an additional form of heating, bathrooms and kitchens with electric mat, for example. Some as a primary heat source.
There's numerous retrofit underfloor heating solutions on the market, warm water-based or hydronic or electric systems. The warm water-based systems tend to use either routed chipboard, a routed gypsum board. You've got things like floating floors, which is a polystyrene tray where you might use an aluminium plate to act as the sort of heat emitter.
You've also got a castellated tray system. Again, they'll all build up the floor profile anything between sort of 15 to 25 millimetres. The other choice is to go with the JK system, which of course again is in ground, meaning that there's no raise to the floor profile.
The main element which makes us different than many other systems in the market is that we are actually working with the existing subfloor construction without changing floor levels or build-up, which makes us very different than other manufacturing and supply companies out there.
If it is something like an overlay type system, most of that is only a design and supply type product, which then needs to be laid by a professional ideally. Self-leveling applications that then need to go over an underfloor heating system to cover the pipe work before the final floor finish can be laid, and commissioning of the system as well. Costs of heating engineer and how the system is controlled via room control, smart stats, whether you want a wireless system, and how really you want to control the system in order to make sure that it's the most efficient product for what you're going to choose for your property.
Wet system underfloor heating is primarily a low energy heating from whether it be a combination boiler, conventional boiler, or ground source or air source heat. The demand from the heat source is very low, so therefore environmentally it's ideal, economically it's ideal. You've got much lower running costs compared to radiators, on average up to 30% in saving on your heating bills. So it's an ambient heat that heats the whole area evenly. There's a reduction in dust because you don't get the oscillating heat of a radiator, you don't get the dust build up around the back of a radiator which then gets forced around the room.
Things like stone, marble, any sort of solid tile is ideal really, because it's acting as that heat sink, that heat emitter, and will soak up the heat and store it. But also you can use engineered board. It tends to be, with wooden floors, tends to be engineered board rather than solid timber flooring. Things like carpet you can use, but there are maximum sort of TOG levels for both the carpet and an underlay combined, which is about 2.5 TOG as a maximum, because obviously you're putting an insulator on top of it, so it's not ideal, but you can still use it, but you have to sort of go by those guidelines. There are certain things which will aid to the efficiency of the system, decent levels of insulation, double glazing, that type of thing.
Houses built prior to 1995 won't tend to have any insulation in the floor. It's not a problem as far as the underfloor heating system is concerned. As a retrofit system, all of the design is put into allowing for the small amount of heat loss.
In an ideal world, with any underfloor heating system, you would have insulation in the floor. However, the benefits of using the JK system, for example, where you're not having to dig up the existing floor, by using the sort of 14mm pipe, which is close to the surface, heat transfer is very, very good. In normal sort of circumstances, it's sufficient and no insulation is necessary.
In general, there is a misconception that underfloor heating is always either expensive or not made for certain properties. If you have a property, 50 square meter ground floor project, the total cost for us to come to the property, to come to the house to do the install will be around £2,000 in total. If you then break it down per square meter, you talk about £40 square meter, which includes the supply and the fit. Where other companies in the UK, they have a design and a supply concept where it is either suitable for a DIY to get it installed themselves, or work with a local professional or an underfloor installer who can complete the installation for you.
Most systems can be fitted in a day or sort of possibly sort of 2 days. The sort of JK model is that we come in, we route the floor, lay the pipe work back to the manifold which is fitted for you. We fill it, test it, and then that's the system sort of installed. And then what we require, or what the customer requires, is for a plumber to come in and to fit sort of primary pipe work to actually sort of feed that manifold from the heating source.
Underfloor heating systems are not subject to maintenance, or there's not much maintenance involved. The underfloor heating systems are connected to your central heating system. Your central heating system is subject to an annual check, and therefore the underfloor heating system is then automatically part of that service.
So if you wanted to know more about underfloor heating, you can visit homebuilding.co.uk. There's many articles there relating to different types of underfloor heating systems, or you can also visit the JK website at jk-gb.com.